I didn't expect the night to end like this. Sitting on the curb outside a bar at 1 a.m., my best friend Jason leaning against me, drunk, heartbroken, and mumbling stuff that made my chest tight in ways I didn't want to admit. Jason and I had been best friends since high school. He was the typical golden boy, tall, athletic, messy brown hair that somehow always looked good, even when he wasn't trying. The kind of guy who never had to work that hard to get attention. Girls loved him. Guys wanted to be him. Me? I was just me. The quieter one. The one who blended in a little more. The one who secretly fell for him the moment we met. But of course, he was straight. He dated girls. Fell hard. Got his heart broken harder. And that's exactly what brought us here tonight. Dude, I just don't get it. Jason slurred, slumping his head onto my shoulder. Why does every girl, leave? I sighed, resting my chin on top of his head for a second before pulling back. You know it's not about you, right? You just pick complicated girls. Yeah, well, maybe I'm complicated. Yeah, I muttered under my breath. You have no idea. His head tilted up, blinking at me. You're always here for me. You ever think about that? Why? I swallowed. Because you're my best friend. Jason smiled, that lazy, drunk grin. Yeah, best friend. There was a pause. A long, weird pause. Then, out of nowhere, he said it. Hey, have you ever wondered what it's like? My stomach flipped. What's like? You know. He waved his hand vaguely, like the word itself was too heavy to say. Being with a guy. I blinked. Are you serious right now? I mean, yeah. He shrugged, then hiccuped. Not in a I'm gay way. Just, I don't know, curiosity or whatever. I stared at him, heart pounding. Why are you asking me that? Jason grinned again, leaning in closer than I was ready for. Because you get me, man. You've always got me. You're like the one person who's never let me down. I wanted to believe it was just drunk talk, that he wouldn't remember any of this in the morning. But then he said the thing that completely broke my brain. So, if I asked, would you show me? I blinked. Show you what? You know, what it's like with a guy. I didn't move, didn't breathe, couldn't. Jason just kept looking at me, his eyes hazy but weirdly serious. Just between us, just to know, just once. The worst part? The part that made my skin burn and my stomach twist. I wanted to say yes. So badly. I didn't answer right away. I couldn't. My brain was doing backflips, trying to process what he just said. Jason nudged my shoulder. Come on, don't make it weird. You're like my safest person. Safest person. God, he had no idea how much that hit. Dude, you're drunk. I finally muttered, trying to steady my voice. You don't mean that. I do, he said, a little too quickly. His brows furrowed like he was really thinking about it. I mean, yeah, maybe I'm drunk, but I've thought about it before. That made me whip my head around. You've... What? Jason scratched the back of his neck, suddenly sheepish. Not all the time or anything, just sometimes. You ever, think about stuff like that? I blinked. Hard. Jason, he sighed, scrubbing his hands over his face. I don't know, man. Girls, they don't get me. Not really. Not the way you do. And I keep thinking, maybe it's not just girls. For a minute, all the sounds around us. The passing cars, the hum of streetlights, People stumbling out of the bar, just faded out. It was like it was only the two of us sitting there, in our own little bubble of something way too big to name. I don't want to ruin anything, he added quickly. I trust you. And I figured if I was ever gonna try, anything, I'd want to try it with someone I trust. I stared at him, my best friend, the guy I'd secretly wanted for years, sitting here, basically asking if I'd, hook up with him? Experiment? Show him what it's like? You can tell me no, Jason mumbled, eyes dropping to the sidewalk. I won't be mad. I get it if it's weird. I opened my mouth, then shut it again. My heart was hammering so loud I was sure he could hear it. I don't want it to be because you're drunk, I finally said, voice soft. I don't want to be some mistake you regret tomorrow. Jason looked up at me then, really looked, and something about his face shifted. Just a little, like beneath all the tipsy, sloppy confusion. He was serious. What if it's not? He asked quietly. My breath caught. What? What if it's not a mistake? We stared at each other, long, heavy, something crackling in the air between us that neither of us had the words for. Then Jason stood up, offering me his hand. Come on, let's go back to your place. I hesitated. Jason. No pressure, he said quickly. If you say stop, we stop. I swear. But I want to know. I slowly reached out, slid my fingers into his, and the second his hand closed around mine, I knew there was no going back. The walk back to my apartment was weirdly quiet. Neither of us said much. Our hands weren't still holding, but they might as well have been. The air between us felt just as charged. I kept sneaking glances at him. Jason, my best friend, his hands shoved in his pockets, that familiar messy hair falling over his forehead, his jaw clenched like he was thinking too hard but didn't want to admit it. Was this really happening? When we got to my door, I fumbled with the keys more than I needed to. My hands were shaking. No matter how chill I tried to act, my brain was spiraling. Inside, the place felt different. Same couch. Same cluttered coffee table. Same leftover pizza box from 2 days ago. But now, it was like everything was holding its breath. Jason kicked off his shoes, standing in the middle of the living room like he wasn't sure what to do next. Water? I offered, just to do something normal. Yeah, sure. I went to the kitchen, grabbed 2 glasses, filled them at the sink, trying to buy time to think. What was I supposed to say? What was I supposed to do? When I walked back, Jason had flopped onto the couch, leaning forward, elbows on his knees. His fingers were laced together, thumbs tapping nervously. I handed him a glass. Here, thanks. He took a sip, put it down, then rubbed the back of his neck. So, I echoed, sitting on the far end of the couch. Jason laughed quietly, shaking his head. God, this is so stupid. It's not stupid, I said quickly, maybe too quickly. His eyes flicked over to me. Yeah, I swallowed. I mean, look, if you're serious about, trying something, we can, but only if you're sure. Jason nodded slowly. I'm sure, I think. You think? I raised a brow. Look, he said, turning toward me. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never, but when I think about doing this with anyone, it's you. I trust you more than anyone. I sat there staring at him. at this stupidly perfect guy who had no idea how long I'd wanted to hear something even remotely like that. And then, barely above a whisper, Jason said, "Can I don't know, can I kiss you?" My chest nearly exploded. "You want to kiss me?" I repeated, stunned. Jason gave a crooked grin, eyes a little uncertain but somehow determined. "Yeah, I think I do." I didn't even answer, didn't trust my mouth to form words. I just nodded. And in the next second, Jason shifted forward, hesitant, careful. His hand lifted, fingertips brushing my jaw like he wasn't sure if he was allowed. But when I didn't pull away, when I leaned in just barely, he closed the distance, his lips pressed against mine. Soft, awkward, unsure, but real. And holy hell, it was better than anything I'd ever imagined. It wasn't perfect. Our noses bumped, his hand fumbled against my cheek. But none of it mattered. Because it was him. Jason pulled back just an inch, eyes searching mine like he was trying to figure out if he'd messed up. That wasn't bad, he mumbled, lips curving into a nervous smile. "Not bad?" I echoed, breathless. "Dude." I grabbed the front of his hoodie and pulled him back in. The second time, it was different. Less awkward. More something. His fingers slid into my hair. My hands flattened against his chest, feeling the rapid thump of his heart. His lips moved against mine, hesitant at first, then firmer, like he was realizing it wasn't just some experiment, it was something real. Somewhere in the middle of that kiss, he whispered against my mouth, Why does this feel so right?" And I didn't have an answer, but I wasn't about to stop finding out. At some point, I stopped thinking entirely. Jason's hands were in my hair, then sliding down to my neck. His breathing was shaky, his lips softer than I ever imagined they'd be, but the way he kissed? Hesitant, but hungry. Like someone who'd been holding back from something they didn't even know they wanted. I didn't want to spook him, but every part of me was screaming to pull him closer. To hold him like I'd imagined doing more times than I could ever admit. When we finally broke apart, both of us breathless, Jason sat back slightly, running a hand through his hair. "Dude, what the hell are we doing?" he asked, half laughing, half panicking. I swallowed, trying to slow my heartbeat. I don't know. You started it." "Yeah," he blinked, his mouth twitching like he couldn't decide if he was going to grin or freak out. "And I don't want to stop." The second he said it, it was like something snapped between us. His hand shot out, grabbing mine, fingers lacing together. His other hand found my knee, squeezing like he needed something to ground himself. "I didn't think." He trailed off, shaking his head. "I didn't think this would feel like this." "Like what?" I asked quietly. Jason looked up at me, and for once in his life, the cocky smirk was gone. His eyes were wide, honest, scared in a way that made my chest ache. "Like, right." His voice cracked a little. "Like, it makes sense." He squeezed my knee again. "I've dated, God, so many girls. And it's always work, trying to be the right guy, trying to be enough. And now I'm sitting here with you, and it's just easy." My throat tightened. "Yeah," I whispered. "It is." We stared at each other for a second, both of us realizing this wasn't just about curiosity anymore. Then Jason shifted closer, sliding his leg up against mine. His fingers traced along my forearm, then up to my shoulder, like he was memorizing the shape of me. "Can I?" His voice was barely a whisper, his fingers brushing the hem of my shirt. I didn't need to ask what he meant, I just nodded. His hand slipped under the fabric, palm flat against my stomach. His touch was warm, a little shaky but not hesitant. His thumb brushed just under my ribs, and I shivered. "Damn," Jason murmured, half to himself. Why Why is this, like, making my head spin? 'Cause I swallowed hard watching him. 'Cause it's nothing. His eyes met mine. Yeah, he breathed. It's not. And then, in this clumsy, breathless rush, he tugged me toward him again. Our mouths collided. Messier this time, our teeth bumping, lips sliding. His hands were on me, gripping, holding, like he was scared I'd pull away. But pulling away was the last thing on my mind. Somewhere in the chaos of kissing, he ended up pushing me back against the arm of the couch, half climbing into my lap without even realizing it. His knees bracketed my thighs, his hands tangled in my hair, and the way he kissed me, it was like every dam in his head had broken. This doesn't even feel weird, he mumbled between kisses, like he was trying to convince himself. It doesn't, I agreed, breathless. It doesn't at all. Jason pulled back just slightly, eyes scanning my face. Is it bad that I don't want this to be just a one-time thing? I blinked. Jason! I know, I said. I just wanted to try, he rushed, words spilling out like he couldn't stop them. But now, I don't think I meant that. I think I just wanted you. My mouth opened, closed, opened again, because same. But before I could even answer, he leaned in, pressing his forehead to mine, whispering, "Tell me I'm not crazy." I closed my eyes, hands fisting in the back of his hoodie. "You're not crazy," I whispered back. "Not even a little." For a moment, neither of us moved. Jason's forehead rested against mine, our breathing synced, like we were both afraid if one of us spoke, the whole thing would shatter. But it didn't. If anything, the silence felt safe, solid, like we'd crossed some invisible line and neither of us wanted to go back. "God," Jason muttered, pulling back just enough to look at me. His thumb traced along my jaw, slow, tentative. "You have no idea how long I've probably buried this." I blinked. "What do you mean?" I don't know. I always thought, nah, couldn't be. I'm not, you know." He bit his lip. "But every time you smiled at me, or laughed at my dumb jokes, or just were there, I always felt something. I just told myself it was best friend stuff." I swallowed. "Jason." And tonight, I guess it finally clicked that maybe it wasn't just best friend stuff. Maybe it was this. He said it like it was still brand new, like the word itself was fragile in his mouth. And part of me was terrified, because if this was just drunken confusion, I wasn't sure I could survive him walking it back tomorrow. "You're sure?" I asked quietly. "Like, you're really sure this isn't just a bad breakup thing? Or you being curious for one night?" Jason's face softened. "No. I mean, yeah, maybe the breakup finally cracked my head open, but this isn't just tonight." His fingers threaded with mine again, gripping like an anchor. "It's you. It's always been you." For a second, I forgot how to breathe. Jason smiled, small, crooked, nervous. "Is it okay if I don't want to figure it all out right now? I know I want to be here, with you." I squeezed his hand. "Yeah," I breathed. "Yeah, that's more than okay." Jason let out a breath that was part laugh, part relief, and then, with this tiny, self-conscious smile, he sat back on my thighs a little. "So, what now?" I grinned. "Well, that depends." "On what?" I ran my hands up his sides, feeling the way he shivered under my touch. "On whether you just wanted a kiss, or more." Jason flushed, like really flushed. His ears went pink. "I mean, he stammered, then laughed, dragging a hand through his messy hair. "Dude, you cannot ask me that while I'm sitting in your lap." "Pretty sure I just did," I teased, loving how he was suddenly the flustered one for once. Jason groaned, tipping his head back. God, why are you making me say it? Because, I grinned. I need to know if you really want this. All of this. He looked down at me, biting his lip. His fingers tightened in mine. Yeah, he whispered. I really do. Then he leaned in, his lips brushing mine again, softer this time, like he was savoring it. His hand slid under my shirt, palm flat against my chest, right over my heartbeat. Is it supposed to be pounding like that? He murmured. Only when your best friend kisses you, I replied, grinning. Jason laughed, really laughed, but didn't pull away. Then, yeah, he whispered against my lips. I definitely want more. Jason didn't wait for me to answer. His hands slid up my chest, fingertips brushing skin like he was trying to memorize it. There was nothing careful about the way he kissed me this time. No hesitation, no second guessing, just want. Pure, overwhelming want. I cupped his face, thumbs tracing his cheekbones, feeling how warm his skin was. His breath hitched against my mouth as his fingers gripped my shoulders, holding me like he was afraid I might disappear. You're so warm, he mumbled against my lips and then laughed, like he realized how dumb that sounded. You're nervous, I smiled. Yeah, he admitted, burying his face against my neck for a second. But, like, in a good way? Does that make sense? Yeah, I whispered, trailing my fingers through his hair. It makes perfect sense. His lips brushed against my neck, then lingered, soft, testing. When I shivered, his hands slid lower, fingertips tracing the hem of my shirt. Can I? Yeah, I breathed. Jason gripped the edge of my shirt and tugged it up. I lifted my arms and let him pull it over my head. His eyes swept over me, wide, and something else. Like awe, like surprise. Dude, he whispered, you look good. My face flushed. Shut up. No, seriously. His hand slid across my chest, fingers tracing the line of my collarbone like he couldn't believe he was allowed to do it. I never thought about this before, but God, it's really doing something to me. I let out a shaky laugh. Yeah, same. His hands roamed, learning, feeling, tracing every line like he was solving a puzzle he didn't even know he wanted to solve. His thumbs brushed over my ribs, then slid back up to my shoulders, tugging me in for another kiss. And this one wasn't soft. It was needy, desperate, hungry. Jason shifted in my lap, knees tightening on either side of my thighs. I felt the way his body responded, the way he pressed into me without even realizing it. His breath caught like it shocked him, like maybe he didn't expect his body to react the way it did. Oh, he gasped, breaking the kiss, his eyes wide like he was catching up to what was happening. You okay? I asked softly, brushing hair out of his eyes. Yeah. He blinked, then laughed nervously. Yeah, I'm more than okay. Just, wow. Didn't know it'd feel like that. He dropped his head to my shoulder, groaning. God, what is happening to me? I chuckled, sliding my hands along his back. You're figuring things out. It's okay. His lips brushed my collarbone, then my jaw, then back to my mouth. You make it feel easy, he whispered. Because it is, I whispered back. He kissed me again, slower this time, but deeper. His hands slid down, fingertips skimming the waistband of my jeans. He hesitated there, pulling back just enough to meet my eyes. Can I? His voice was barely more than a whisper. I swallowed, nodded. Yeah, if you want to. Jason licked his lips, cheeks flushed pink, eyes searching mine. I do. I really do. And just like that, the last bit of tension between us snapped. He leaned in, tugging me closer, his lips crashing back to mine as his hands finally started exploring where I'd only ever dreamed they would. Jason's fingers trembled a little as they slipped under the waistband of my jeans, like his body was moving faster than his brain could catch up. But the look in his eyes, focused, hungry, a little wild, told me everything I needed to know. He wanted this. He wanted me. I reached down, covering his hands with mine for a second. "Hey, you okay?" Jason nodded fast. Yeah. Just never done anything like this before." I smiled, brushing my thumb over the back of his hand. "You're doing fine. No pressure. We go as slow as you need. Okay?" he breathed, leaning in, pressing his forehead to mine again. "But, not too slow." That made me laugh. "Got it." And then he kissed me again, rougher, more certain. His hands worked my jeans open, fingers fumbling at the button. Then the zipper. His breathing hitched when he managed it, like even that tiny victory felt huge. "God," he muttered, dragging his lips down my neck as his hands slid over my hips. Why does this feel like something I should have done a long time ago?" "Yeah," I managed, barely able to focus with the way his mouth was moving against my skin. "Yeah, feels that way for me too." Jason sat back for a second, pulling his own hoodie over his head, tossing it somewhere onto the floor. His t-shirt followed right after, and suddenly he was there in front of me, bare-chested, flushed, messy-haired, and gorgeous. I couldn't stop staring. Neither could he. "Dude," he whispered, dragging his palm slowly down my chest, over my stomach. I swear, if anyone had told me this would happen, I wouldn't have believed it, not in a million years. "Same," I whispered back. His hand slid lower again, fingers dipping into the waistband of my jeans, then pausing, checking my eyes one last time. When I nodded, Jason sucked in a sharp breath and slowly, tentatively worked them down, watching like every inch of exposed skin was something he needed to memorize. "Damn." His voice was low, almost reverent. "You're..." "Yeah?" I grinned, feeling way too hot, way too exposed, but also like it was okay, like it was safe with him. "You're really hot," Jason mumbled, almost embarrassed to say it, like the words surprised even him. "You too," I whispered. His hands ghosted over my thighs, hesitant but curious. His eyes flicked up to mine. I might need a little guidance here," he admitted, sheepish. "That's okay," I said softly, reaching for his hand, threading our fingers together. "We figure it out. Together." Jason smiled, big, nervous but real. "Yeah, together." And with that, he leaned in again, kissing me harder, deeper. His hands weren't trembling as much now. If anything, there was this eager confidence creeping in, as if the more he touched me, the more right it felt. Like maybe this was what he'd been searching for all along. I didn't know how it was possible to feel nervous and completely right at the same time. But that's exactly what this was. Every touch, every kiss, every second with Jason felt like something I'd been waiting for, without even realizing it. Jason shifted closer, practically in my lap now. His hands roamed like he was figuring it all out in real time, tentative at first, then bolder, more confident the more he realized how good it felt. How good we felt. His lips brushed mine between laughs, between whispered, breathless, "Is this okay?" And, "Yeah, more than okay." And somewhere between the kisses and the fumbling and the hands wandering everywhere they'd never been before, we stopped thinking. It wasn't about figuring anything out anymore. It was just us, messy, clumsy, honest. Jason's breath caught as his fingers curled against me, and the look on his face. It was like watching someone solve a puzzle they never knew they were missing. God, he whispered, this is way more intense than I thought. I laughed, breathless. Yeah, you're kind of killing me right now. Good, he smirked, leaning in to kiss me again. Slower this time, softer. You've been killing me for years, didn't even know it. That stopped me cold. I blinked. What? Jason pulled back just enough to look me in the eye, his thumb brushing the corner of my mouth. Yeah, guess I didn't realize it until now, but you've always meant more. More than anyone. My chest tightened so hard it almost hurt. Jason. Yeah? You mean it? His grin softened. Yeah, I do. For a moment, everything stilled. His hands resting on my waist, my fingers tangled in his hair. Our foreheads pressed together, breathing the same air. The world outside didn't exist. Nothing mattered but this. Him. Me. Us. When it was finally too much, in the best way possible, we collapsed into each other, tangled, sweaty, half laughing, half shaking. Jason let out this half disbelieving groan, dragging a hand through his hair. Dude, what the actual hell just happened? I grinned, pulling the blanket over both of us. Pretty sure you just figured out you might not be as straight as you thought. Jason laughed, burying his face in my neck. No kidding. We lay there for a while in comfortable silence, his fingers tracing lazy patterns on my skin. Then softly he whispered, Hey, you know this doesn't change when the sun comes up, right? I blinked. What do you mean? I mean, I'm not gonna freak out tomorrow, or pretend this didn't happen. Or, I don't know, run away. He shifted, looking down at me. I don't want this to be just a one-time thing. My heart might have actually stopped for a second. You don't? I asked, barely believing it. Jason shook his head. Nah. Feels way too good, way too right. A grin tugged at the corner of my mouth. So, what are we? Jason leaned down, pressing a soft kiss to my lips. I guess we figure that out together. And honestly, there was nothing in the world I wanted more.